Hi, everybody, wherever you may be. My name is Larry, and my call sign's Kilo 7 Hotel November. Welcome back to my shack. This is Ham Radio Live Show 53. Hi there. A very happy Monday to you all. Glad to see you. Thanks for joining the show today. Appreciate you all being here. Have you ever thought about being in ham radio? Do you like science? What about talking to people in different countries and becoming friends with them just because you have a radio in your house and you can talk to them whenever you want? That's ham radio. It's pretty cool. You can actually talk to people with a microphone. You can do similar to text messaging if you like, or if you're really not into, maybe doing that microphone thing, you can even do computer to computer, not touch a thing. That's called FT8. You can see how far your signal will travel. It's pretty cool. So there's lots of different opportunities for you in ham radio, and we would love to see you get your license. We really would. The whole purpose of ham radio is honestly, I think, multifold. It's a way to help in emergency situations, to help coordinate emergency efforts, to get to people who are in need because emergency services doesn't know that there's need there. Okay. Another reason is simply to connect it with as many people as you can, as soon as you can. Those are called contests. Usually every weekend, you'll find contests on ham radio where people will try and contact others and see how many contacts they can make in a different period. It's pretty cool. You can try and contact people from all different states, get a certificate for that. You can also try and work 100 countries. You can work the islands of the earth. It's fascinating, and we'd love you to take part in it. Part of what this channel exists for is to help you get your ham radio license. It's to encourage you that you can get your license. It's not so hard that you need to be intimidated by it, but you should learn some basic principles that are necessary for you to safely operate a ham radio. Now, I must give a disclaimer early here. Today's show is going to be a little technical. It involves the Amateur Extra exam in the United States. This is the highest level license you can have in the U.S., and it gives you about 3 additional % of the frequencies available to you. So from that end, it just gives you freedom over all the bands. It's kind of nice to have. The other thing is it allows you to have a vanity call sign of any kind. For example, my call sign is K7HN. It's only 4 characters. Only an Amateur Extra has the opportunity to get that kind of a call sign. Another thing that Amateur Extras do really is just have the Amateur Extra tag. I honestly think if you can get to the general license, you're golden because you get most of the frequencies and you'll do well in ham radio. You'll be able to contact people from all over the world, contact people in 50 states, and you know what? You're going to find you're going to make some friends too. It's a very, very nice hobby. I want to thank the folks at Heil Sound for providing the sound for today's show. You'll hear the bands today through the Heil Parametric Receive Audio System. Thanks to the guys there in Illinois at Heil. Thank you for doing that. That's a good thing. Bought the system, love the system, and if you're hearing impaired or just like to hear the signals better, this is the thing you need. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. All right, we're going to start first with the extra exam in the United States. So most people stop at general. There are a ton that have Amateur Extra or had carried over their advanced licenses to become essentially an Amateur Extra, okay? So this is the highest of 3 license classes in the United States. The beginning one is the technician. It's a 35-question test. You need to get a 74% passing score. Second one is the general. Now, that one's also 35 questions. You need a 74% on that as well. The third one is Amateur Extra. That one's 50 questions. You still need 74% to pass, but you have 15 additional questions. Now, one thing the FCC says is that they're not going to put too much math questions on, meaning if you're not good at math, don't be so overwhelmed by this that you're not going to pass the test. And you'll also find that many of the questions on the extra exam are questions that are from the technician and from the general. They sprinkle those into the extra exam as well. So you'll have questions that maybe you've already answered before in previous tests, but they get a little more technical in the amateur extra exam. So I want to say before we start, my friends, that this may be a little technical, and I struggle with that. I talked with Ward, a good friend of mine, W6WWD down in California, about this. One of my worries is I don't want to overwhelm people with so much science or so much theory that they completely say, nope, told you, it's too hard. It's not what I want to do. So I do want to give enough information for folks that do want to license up to extra. However, I need to do this show. So we're going to do an extra show once a week. The rest of it is going to be focused on technician and general, because that's the main point. We want you on the air. In channel news, by the way, we'll go over some very important stuff. We have Michael Walker joining us from Flex Radio Systems. That'll be this Thursday at 20 Zulu. That's noon Pacific time. We also will have a great evening of radio. For those folks that love to just hear QSOs, your chance is coming up Tuesday night. That's this Tuesday night, 7 Zulu. That's 7 in the morning in England. And that means it's 11 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be joining the HHH Net, and that's going to be a ball. That's a worked all states net. So by going onto that net nightly, eventually you're going to have all 50 states. It's a great net. So we're going to be joining the gang down there on Tuesday night. So please make sure and join us for that. We have someone coming from Chameleon Antennas to talk to you about their products as well. And in big new channel news, we have the new QRP Labs Whisper transmitter coming here. And we're going to show you how to assemble it, as well as how to use it to check propagation with your antennas. What does propagation mean? If you've missed previous shows, it essentially talks about how our antennas bounce off the ionosphere and how far they go, where our signals are heard. It's fascinating, and it only uses like 1/4 of a watt, okay? Very little power, so you're going to like it, I hope. So that's coming up shortly as we get things going. And the hex beam from MFJ, the 1848, is on the way. 1848 is brand new to MFJ. It adds 30 and 40 meters to a directional beam. For new hams or people who would like to be in ham radio, a beam antenna basically focuses your signal in one direction. That's pretty cool. So if you want to work Australia maybe, or Europe, you just point it that direction and away you go. And for folks that maybe think a directional is just impossible, right? I did. Tower costs, rotator costs, all the things you got to buy to get a directional antenna up. Nope. You don't have to worry about that with this antenna, because you can put it on a chimney, you can stick it on your roof, you can put it on a post in your backyard. That's how easy it is, okay? And the cost isn't that bad. With a rotator and the directional beam, you're into it a little over $1,000 retail. Seriously. I mean, we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars. We're talking about $1,000 for a directional beam with everything. That's the rotator, the directional beam. That's getting you on the air with it, assuming you already have your feed line. So the 1848 is coming. We're going to do a show on assembling it, and then plenty of shows on using it. Okay, let's get into that extra exam. So again, we'll talk about this and do our best to explain things to you about why it's the right answer. First question: atmospheric ducts capable of propagating microwave signals often form over what geographic feature? All right. Now, this is really important. One of the things that people maybe don't understand, first of all, is what the heck is an atmospheric duct, right? It's like, okay, already lost me. No, let me try and show you a diagram of what it looks like, okay? An atmospheric duct essentially is something that travels over the earth. It's invisible, all right? We don't see it. Our radio waves essentially stay within this boundary that goes up above the Earth in the ionosphere. Now, typically, our radio waves will go up to the ionosphere and back down to Earth, then be bounced back up to the ionosphere, and it just repeats. Well, when you have atmospheric ducts, what the signal does essentially is it just bounces around for a long ways in the ionosphere before it comes back down. That's pretty stinking cool. Now, my dog's barking downstairs, not so much, but they'll eventually stop. Sorry, guys. So that's an atmospheric duct, and it helps significantly in propagation, meaning making your signal go farther because you don't have so much loss in your signal because it's not going all the way up to the ionosphere, then hitting the Earth, losing some of the signal, then bouncing back up, and so forth. The ducts help keep it strong and help it go farther. So let's go back to the original question now that we've explained kind of what an atmospheric duct is, okay? So an atmospheric duct, how does it affect microwave? Now, microwave signals are way up there, okay? We're talking way up on UHF. In fact, it's like high, really high, okay? So first question, atmospheric ducts capable of propagating microwave signals often form over what geographic feature? Mountain ranges, forests, bodies of water, or urban areas? The answer is C, bodies of water. The reason why is typically atmospheric ducts work better over water because there's really less interaction with the ionosphere over water like oceans. There's not a whole lot of terrain to disturb it. It's pretty flat, okay? Meaning that the surface of the ocean is pretty steady, right? There's no mountains, there's no vegetation, nothing to mess with it. So water helps to keep it stable. That's why atmospheric ducts will work better over water, okay? Next question on the extra exam in the United States says, what does VOA CAP software model? What does VOA CAP software model? Now, first you'll say, gosh, this thing is written weird. That's not even proper English. Okay. Yes, you're right. But what does it mean essentially? What does it do to help you in ham radio? All right. Answer A is AC voltage and impedance. B, VHF radio propagation. C, high frequency, which is HF propagation. So HF propagation for high frequencies, okay? Or D, alternating current and impedance. The answer is C, HF propagation. What the VOA CAP is essentially is a forecast. It really just tells you how propagation is going to be for the given week, okay, or the given day. It's a way of helping us understand which frequencies are best to use. The Voice of America was the one that originated it, and they're the people who still support it. It's really kind of cool that they do that for people in ham radio. So again, when we get to this question, what is VOA CAP? It is basically it's a guide for high frequency propagation. Okay, there you go. So that's the folks that like us that like to use the ionosphere to skip signals. Tells us how good things are going to be. Next question. Which describes the most significant effect of an off frequency signal when it is causing cross-modulation interference to a desired signal? Okay, cross-modulation interference. This will be answered by the answer itself. A large increase in background noise. B, a reduction in apparent signal strength. C, the desired signal can no longer be heard. Or D, the off-frequency unwanted signal is heard in addition to the desired signal. Now, remember yesterday, we talked about, let me get my I got something. See, I got this for all of us, so I could show things better than grabbing pieces of paper. All right. When you have a station, let's say they're at, we'll go back to 7150. Okay. So 7150. All right. So they're broadcasting then in lower sideband. So that means they're at 7.150 to 7.147. Okay. So the signal essentially goes like this. All right. The signal would look just like this. You're going to broadcast at 7.150 and it's going to go down to 7.147. All right. Now, if somebody comes on frequency, say in the middle of your QSO for new hams, for new hams means a contact. Okay. Let's say somebody comes along and they start broadcasting at 7.152. All right. So their frequency is going to come into yours down at 7.149. All right, let me show you. The dotted line represents the cross-modulated signal. All right, they're at 7.152. That's 2 kilohertz above where your contact and you are speaking. Now, what happens when you have cross-modulation? Essentially, you have two signals fighting at the same time for your attention. That's really what it is. Yesterday, we mentioned the IF filter, okay, the IF adjustment in the front end of a radio. And that's good because you use your IF shift to help move you away from that undesired signal. So in this question, the answer is going to be D. The off-frequency unwanted signal is heard in addition to the desired signal. That's cross-modulation, meaning you're picking up two signals at once. Okay? Next question. This is again on the current extra exam in the United States. What is current in the primary winding of a transformer called if no load is attached to the secondary? All right. A magnetizing current. D, direct current. C, excitation current. Or D, stabilizing current. All right. If you have a coil of wire and it goes around a transformer, okay? So it's spinning in one direction, right? Let's say you have a toroidal loop, a toroidal piece of iron, right? And you wind it, okay? You can actually, if you have just one winding of it and the other one's not powered, you can stick a screwdriver through it and magnetize the screwdriver, because inside that giant coil, that magnetizing coil, is magnetic waves that will actually magnetize your metal objects. So if you don't have maybe a metal screwdriver or you don't have metal tools, put them in there. You'll get them magnetized. Again, that single winding only having power to it forms a magnetizing current. It's not going to do anything else. Okay? Next question on the current extra exam in the U.S. Which is the most common input and output impedance of circuits that use MMICs? Now I've already lost most of you, haven't I? Okay. Let me see how best I can help you. All right. An MMIC is essentially it's a monolithic microwave integrated circuit, to be totally descriptive. Okay. It's a device that operates at microwave frequencies, and they typically perform things like microwave mixing, power amplification, low noise amplification, and high frequency switching. Okay. That's what they do. Now, the question here is, what's the input and output impedance of them in a radio transceiver? The answer is 50 ohms. Okay. That's why we want to use a 50 ohm inductance into our radio receiver. That's the reason why. Okay. 300 ohms and 450 ohms can be cut off of ladder line. Okay, those are great ladder line impedances, but they don't work if you're going to be using coaxial cable. D is 10 ohms, and that simply will not work. Okay, what does an MMIC look like? Here's a picture of one. That's a great picture of an MMIC. Pretty small, just a tiny little electrical bit there, but they do pretty big things. So the main thing for an MMIC in this example on the extra exam is it's going to be 50 ohms in and 50 ohms out. So the gate's going to move at 50 ohms, okay? That's how that works. All right, next question here for the extra exam in the FCC US. It reads, what absorbs the energy from light falling on a photovoltaic cell? A, protons, B, photons, C, electrons, or D, holes? Hi, Alex. Welcome to the show. Good to see you, buddy. Again, welcome back, bud. All right. A photovoltaic cell. Now, what do they look like? We've all seen our neighbors that have solar panels on their roofs, right? There are tons. Each one of these individual squares is a photovoltaic cell. Now, how in the heck do these things convert sunlight into electricity, right? They do it this way. The sunlight hits the photovoltaic cell. When it hits, there's multiple materials within that cell, all right? It will have different materials. Now, the photons are in the middle of it. However, what comes of it is electrons. The electrons come from that photovoltaic cell, and it helps to create electrical energy. That's how it works. So when we go to this question, which is regarding solar panels or solar cells, whoops, sorry about that, wrong question. Got the last one up there still. My fault. All right. When we talk about this question, the answer is electrons. That's what absorbs the energy from the light falling on one. All right. We talked with a good new friend to the channel on our last show. Okay. Show 52 was a great conversation with Alpha Hotel 6 Victor. That was great. He's on the island of Hawaii, and his whole station is solar. Now, if I lived in Hawaii, I'd probably think about doing that too. But he sent me an email, and I want to read part of this to you to help explain how he's done it, because it's really cool. What Jeremy told me about this, I thought was fascinating. I thought, I'm going to share this with the channel because we have a question, actually. The question came up on the test. I thought, well, yeah, let's share this, all right? He said he uses a lazy H antenna for 17 and 20 meters and a fat dipole. It works like a fat dipole on 40, all right? So we got him on 40. Now, what he said was distributed feed issues equal currents between his solar elements. Now, he said he said that essentially it's very quiet up there on DC power, and that the photovoltaic cells from his station will power his station long before he gets tired of working it. So if you have a really good setup where you're using solar panels, and a lot of hams do this, especially when they're working remotely, they'll set up a solar panel that you can really literally fold up. They now make them that way. They fold up, and then you spread them out. You hook them up to a battery. From the battery, you hook them up to your gear, and it will power your radio. Now, you need those electrons to make that work. So when you use a photovoltaic cell, what you're getting from that is you're going to be getting electrons. That's what absorbs the energy from the sunlight that falls on them. All right. And again, thanks to Jeremy in Hawaii for his story. That was fun. Neat to meet him the other night, wasn't it? Next question. What circuit element is controlled by a series of analog voltage, by a series analog voltage regulator to maintain a constant output voltage? Okay. So which element controls essentially something that will maintain a constant output voltage? This is very important, because you don't want, especially in a power supply, your power, your energy coming out of it to be unstable. You want it to be consistent. All right. First question here, the first answer for it would be A, reference voltage. Okay, that's the first part. I'm trying to move this over just a skosh, but it's not moving. Second one is switching inductance. Your third possible answer is the error amplifier, and D is pass transistor. Okay, there's no such thing as an error amplifier, so switch that one out of your brain. They don't exist. Okay. Reference voltage is something you measure. Switching inductance is something you do. And D is something that helps to regulate a constant output voltage. Okay. That's what a pass transistor does. It really just essentially will just control everything for you. Now, I want to make a brief comment. When I showed you this picture, I showed you the wrong thing. This is not an MIC. This is a pass transistor. Sorry, guys. This is a pass transistor. So they're very small. Essentially, how it works is the incoming voltage comes in, and then the pass transistor has a gate inside that maintains its voltage across that circuit inside this cap, and essentially sends it one direction with a constant voltage. Okay, so that's a pass transistor. All right, now those have been around since the 1960s. It's been that long. Wow. Whew. Sometimes I feel old when I do these shows, things that have happened. All right, next question. Which filter type is described as having a ripple in the passband and a sharp cutoff? Okay, and you see these more in older radios. All right, you don't see these so much in newer rigs, more than the analog stuff, the crystal filters. Okay, A is a Butterworth filter, B is an active LC filter, C is a passive op-amp filter, and D is a Chebyshev filter. Now this is D, it's a Chebyshev filter. Okay, a Chebyshev filter basically will help to quickly cut off your passband. It's a very narrow drop, very quick drop in your passband, but it can also have a ripple effect in it. So you have to watch how you use them. Chebyshev filters. Chebyshev, by the way, was a mathematician in Russia. Genius. Guy's an absolute genius. And he developed a mathematical formula that essentially describes this filter and how it works. So a Chebyshev filter is your answer to that, but it does have a ripple effect if you use one. Okay? Last question for the extra exam today is, what is a common method of generating an SSB signal using digital signal processing? All right. A, mixing products are converted to voltages and subtracted by adder circuits. B, a frequency synthesizer removes all the unwanted sidebands. C, emulation of quartz crystal filter characteristics. Again, we're Chebyshev. Alex, say Chebyshev 20 times. I think you're right there. D, combined signals with a quadrature phase relationship. Now, this is confusing to a lot of people, but let me explain the answer and why. You're trying to generate an SSB signal using digital signal processing, or DSP. All right. A quadrature phase relationship really gets digital, but what it does, like typically digital, when you break digital down to its core, it's either a 0 or a 1, right? When you go in a quadrature phase, you're going 2 digits, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 0. You see what I'm saying? So in a quadrature phase, you're adding another character into the digital filter. So you basically have, sorry, I said filter. Sorry. You add, when you do this, you add the phase. So in a quadrature phase, you're adding a little more to the digital relationship of the signal. It helps to generate an SSB, a single sideband signal when you use digital signal processing. Remember, SSB can stand for either upper sideband or lower sideband. For people who are not hams, how signals work in radio are different than what you hear on your radio at home, all right? On your radios at home, if you listen to AM, for example, okay, on your AM radio station, you have a signal, kind of looks like a tent, okay? It will move roughly 6 kilohertz in both directions. So from the center frequency, you're going to move 6 kilohertz each direction. Now, what ham radios do is they use just simple sideband. Now, if it's upper sideband, from the signal itself, it's going to go up, but it's not going to go up 6 kilohertz. It's only going to go 2.7 to 3.0 kilohertz, depending upon the radio. Now, the FCC will say 3, so up 3. So if you're at, again, if we are at, say, 14.250, which is the 20 meter band, we would be broadcasting to 14.253. Okay, so it looks like this. Again, sideband is only about 3 kilohertz wide. So we only use 3 kilohertz. Now that's important, and that's what helps make our signals travel so far. We're not using a ton of bandwidth. It's a small, narrow amount of bandwidth, so it will go farther with less power. That's important. That's why when you only have 100 watts on a radio, it's easy because 100 watts can actually go quite a ways depending upon propagation. All right, if you're doing sideband on lower sideband, okay? And the reason I'm putting this up is because I've had people get a hold of me with confusion over sideband. What does sideband mean? Okay. So when we're talking about sideband in ham radio, all right, we're doing the same thing either direction. Now, it's the same exact amount, 2.7 to 3 kilohertz. All right. It's just depending upon where you're at on the bands. Okay. So let me write this out real quick. All right. Upper side. If you're on upper sideband, you're going to be at 2.7 to 3 kilohertz above the frequency you're on. So that means your signal is going to transmit all the way to 14.253. On lower sideband, your frequency might read 7.150, but because you're broadcasting at 2.7 to 3 kilohertz, you're going to take up a space between 7.150 to 7.147. Forgot the 1 there. Sorry. All right. So 7.147. There you go. All right. Essentially, it gives you the opportunity to broadcast in a narrower sideband, but because you're broadcasting such a narrow band, you're getting a long ways out there. You're able to use lower power because you don't have to transmit a lot of information. That small amount, that little 2.7 to 3 kilohertz bandwidth on your transmit helps to carry your signal farther. That's why ham radio works so well. It's why we can contact people in different countries. So that's pretty cool. Hi, Larry. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. As always, nice to see you, my friend. And hello to NC Photos back again. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for joining the show. So again, on the extra, being an amateur extra myself, I can tell you that it's nice to be able to be an extra, I guess. I've never really thought of it, I guess, as like a status thing. It's never meant that to me. It's just when I went in to get my license, I just wanted the highest license I could get. That's what I wanted to study for. So for me, I didn't think of anything other than that. But in practicality, if you get your general license, you're solid. You're so good because you can broadcast on just about every frequency that there is. Okay? That's how it works. So get up to your general. If you're not a ham right now and you'd like to start studying, study for your technician, study for your general in the United States. If you pass those, you're great. If you want to go for the extra, terrific. Just know it's going to be a lot more technical in terms of the things you have to learn, but don't think this to be so hard to do that you won't even try, because you'll be shocked that you can actually learn this. My father-in-law is a great example. He's 84 years old, and he studied hard, and the first try, he got his technician exam. The second, he got his general. First try on both of them. So you can do it too. Just have some confidence in yourself. I'll put a tag below the video to the American Radio Relay League site. Contact them. Find out where your nearest radio club is, who can maybe give you the test, okay? You'll pass it. Just study, 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 study. It'll help you. And then we'll be doing a lot more on the technician and the general exam. I'm only going to do the extra once per week because I think it's so, I guess it's just so technical for most folks. I don't want to intimidate folks. I'd rather get you on the air with what's available that's easy to understand so you can get your license rather than really plow into the technical stuff that might scare some folks off. All right, on to the rig cam. 17 meters, of course, because we can. Got a small, actually good signal, not bad here. That's going to be digital. It's going to be FT8. All right. Excuse me. We had some activity here when we started today. Take a look. There we go. Very weak. All right. We'll go up here. We'll see what we can do here on 20. 20 should be pretty good. Now, again, keep in mind, I'm dealing with my next door neighbor's issue, and the issue next door is that he has a waterfall pump controller that unfortunately is defective, and it sends out RFI like a transmitter. It just really does, and that's unfortunate. Now, I'm currently using the MFJ 998 auto tuner. I sold everything I had, but I kept this tuner. And the reason I did is because I like it. It just works great. You can tune so fast with this tuner, and it tunes all the way up to legal limit. I mean, it's just a great, great tuner. I'm going to get you a shot of that here in just a second. Trying to finagle a few things that are in the way and try and get you a good picture of this so you can see what it looks like. Sorry for all the extra noise there. All right. So the MFJ 998 tuner, auto tuner, looks like this. Here it is. This will tune. Excuse how dirty it is. Wow. Look at this. Not so good. Not so good. Anyway, this tuner will tune up to 1500 watts. And I love it. It's just simple to use. For example, if I want to move this all the way down to 160, let's say I move to 160 and I tune again. Watch the display and notice how quick it will tune. It's going to find a match for this frequency. I'm going to try and get you off the glare from this because it's picking up glare from the window, and I don't want it to do that. Let's tune. You have to be on CW. For people who aren't hams, CW means Morse code. So we put a carrier out. We're now trying to tune 160 meters from 20. Okay? It'll tune it. What it's doing is it's firing off relays to try and find the best combination that's inside the tuner to find the best combo. And I have it set that if it doesn't go to 2.0 to 1 SWR, to not try. Okay, so it's going to let me know it's not going to do it. So right now it's telling me that my SWR is 2.9, so I won't tune that. We'll go to, and I could use that. Don't get me wrong, I could use 2.9. It wouldn't hurt the radio. It's just going to mean less power out there. So we'll go to 1875. We'll see what 1875 does. And again, it's just a matter of tuning wherever you want to tune and finding the combination that works with whatever antenna you have, okay? I found this thing will tune pretty much everything. Again, it's over 2.0 to 1. So if I want to change that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to mode. I'll hold the mode. Now you see it says SWR 2.0. If I change that, which I can adjust, right? Whoops, pardon me, guys. It's manually adjustable, so it will adjust whatever you want it to do for a threshold. And what I love about it is, honestly, it just works pretty fast. I've been very blessed to use this and not have really any issues whatsoever. So once you get wherever you go, you just hit the tune button, and there you go. You're good. Okay. So if I want to move, for example, to 80, right? And my antenna will tune 80. Not a problem. Let's get it tuned on 80. And I have been on 80 many times, so it might not take long to do this. But again, here it goes. See, that's how long it took. So it's 1.7 to 1. Now, if I go back to 160, it'll tune again. And it's trying to find a match under or at 2 to 1. Okay, and I just changed this thing today. So I just moved it down to 2 to 1. So I shouldn't have moved it probably to do that, because it's probably struggling on my vertical to find, it's struggling to find something that's under 2 to 1. Move over to 40 meters, do the same thing. And again, 20 watts output power. It'll go fairly quick. There's 1 to 1 at 7.153. Let's move up to 10 meters. So this is 10. We'll tune again on 10 and we'll see what the number is. We're at 5 watts. Oops. Good. My goodness gracious. We're still at, we're at 15. We do at 20. So at 20 watts, it's at 2.2 to 1. It'll work just fine. So go all the way up to 6 meters. And 6 meters for me looks like a flipping neon sign. And I know it's difficult to read this. I'm trying to move the camera into a way that you can see this digital readout better. But it's really a bright tuner. It works that might be a little better, I guess. So 6 meters, okay, it's right now over 2 to 1. So it's going to have a little problem at 2. But keep in mind that on my end, if you take a look at just what I see, let me show you what 2 meters looks like from my end. Look at that. That is, unfortunately, the RFI that's coming from my neighbor's waterfall pump. That's how bad 6 meters is. Yep. Think I can work that? Never, 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 never. If I move down to 10 and bring the amplifier up, turn down attenuation first. Okay. And pretty much this entire area is filled with RFI. That's the problem. So hopefully we get this resolved soon, because it's literally everywhere. And no matter where I tune, it's going to be the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and tune this up to, wow. It is true, Alex. Yeah, it's crazy how bad that is. And I end up having to get a hold of the FCC to resolve the issue. Larry, by the way, getting into it after 10 years, all you have is 2 meters. What kind of a rig are you interested in buying, Larry? I'm just curious. I'm curious. There's so many good ones out there. Oh my gosh. You can't go wrong today, buddy. You can't, because there's so many great rigs out there. Now we're tuned. at 1.5 to 1. Okay, that's where we're at. And we'll send a couple CQ calls. If we can make a call, we will. If we can't, we'll wrap the show up because, hey, we're just here to have a good time and hopefully teach you some stuff too. That was the main idea behind the channel. Teach some folks some stuff and help them to learn about ham radio. Let's make sure the frequency is available. Hello, is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. And please forgive me. The glare from the screen is because of the seasons. We're now getting some glare from the window beside it. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Again, want to thank Hans over at QRP Labs. Going to be sending us a great WSPR transmitter. We'll show you its assembly and also its use to show you the difference of using whisper mode to check propagation between your antennas. Yeah, it is a lot of money. True, Larry. Yeah. You know, a good rig, a couple of good rigs, I think. Okay. Gosh, man, try for the Elecraft. Try for a K3. Oh my gosh, you'd be set. It's a great rig. And you know what, Larry, I'll tell you, honestly, the Elecraft K3 is the highest rated analog rig that there is on the Sherwood Report. Everything above it is digital. If you want digital and something's really important like an SDR, you want to use this SDR. And for folks that aren't in ham radio, SDR means software defined radio. So essentially, it doesn't use any crystals for frequencies. It uses software to basically tune the frequencies and for you to use it. So it's pretty precise. They're very sensitive. They're very selective. Again, sensitivity for new hams means it can pick up really good far off stations. Sensitivity means it can split two signals from each other really well. Okay. So the K3 is a great one, Al. It's a great one, Larry. If you can get one, get your hands on a K3. Even Alex, look at that. K4 for me. Love the K4. Yeah, I just like Elecraft. I think it's good. Also, Larry, if you want to go with an SDR, maybe a Flex 6300. That's a good SDR. It's a great SDR. ICOM 7610, or, you know, a lot of people just buy two 7300s. It's cheaper than buying a new 7610. It gives you two rigs. So the 7610, 7300 is a great, great buy. Yeah. Check out, you know what? Contact Elecraft. You know, I don't get a penny for saying this. I'm just saying, before I die, that's my next radio. It'll be an Elecraft K3S. I can even buy a K3 and then buy the K3S add-on module so I can have a K3S. I'm so set. I'm ready to go. All right. Is this frequency available? Kilo 7 Hotel November. CQ17, Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ17 live on Ham Radio Live on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ on 17 and standing by. CQ 17 meters, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ, live on Ham Radio Live on YouTube, CQ from Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQ on 17 and listening. Hold on. Okay, let's try 40 real quick. So we will go to 40 and we'll tune it real quick, make sure we're good. I know this thing will tune it. So we'll just use the internal tuner on the Yaesu. Yeah, Larry, those are both good. I mean, the K3S, the K3, either one, great. If you want SDR, Flex 6300 series, start with that. You can get the Maestro unit for that, which will allow you to use it anywhere in your house. I mean, you can literally bring it in your den or downstairs in your living room with the radio upstairs hooked up to the antenna, operate the whole thing remote controlly with, knobs and buttons and everything with the Maestro. It's really cool how they've done that. So both US companies, and they both make great stuff. All right, let's take a look at 20 meters real quick. And again, all of this stuff here, all of these lines, these squiggly lines, those are all the neighbor's waterfall pump. And you can hear what it does to it. Hear how the pump just destroys the signal? It makes it non-legible, just completely. You can't listen to it. So we'll move over.
Hello, CQ20. Hello, CQ 20-meter phone. From Kilo Foxtrot number 2, Golf Victor, and Kilo Foxtrot 2, Golf Victor. Kilo Foxtrot 2, Golf Victor, calling CQ and listening.
Hold on. Let's go to 100. Kilo 7, Hotel November.
Alpha Bravo 5 Nancy. That's usually my excuse when I tell them I'm QRP also. Okay, there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Is it Robert, Rob, Bob? What is your...
We'll wait for our chance to talk here, guys. I believe his call sign's KF2 Delta Victor. We'll see. So we may just make this one quick contact and we will skedaddle out. The main thing was for me at least, was to get a hold of some folks and help them with the amateur extra exam here in the U.S. Let's listen in.
Yeah, my name is Jack. Juliet Alpha, Charlie Kilo. Jack is my name. My QTH is in Syosset, Long Island, New York. We're situated approximately 23 miles east of New York City. And the last time we spoke was on August 8th, 2017. August 8th, 2017. So that's what I'm showing here. And how many WAPs are you running? How many WAPs are you running? Over?
So we're not hearing the other side of the conversation, but we are hearing the one from Long Island, New York. That's kind of cool. Just moving a few things while we wait for him to come back.
Yes. Okay, very, very good. You're 5, 9 plus 10 with your QRP signal. I'm just curious with my QRP signal, how loud am I? Over?
So he's running QRP. That's amazing.
Okay, no problem. This is KF2GV, Jack in Syosset, New York, former home of Laugh A Lot Radio over there on Jericho Turnpike.
Let's run him down. We'll run 100 watts.
And I am about 2 miles to the north of what used to be Laugh A Lot Radio. How copy, OM?
Kilo 7 Hotel November. Now I'm going to mess around a little bit with the high-all parametric receive just so you can hear the difference in audio here once he comes back.
An FTDX 101 MP with a VL1000 linear amplifier, and that amplifier is putting out about 940 watts into a 6-element 4-square monobander up at 100 feet, pointed directly at you.
Okay. So for people who are not hams, What he has is he has a directional antenna and an amplifier. Now, when you run that combination, you got a real winner because you've got a way to direct your signal in one direction, and then you have amplification. So you're pumping up the power of your station to really get that signal out and get it out in one direction. That's a killer combination right there. Since I don't have Long Island yet, I need to make this call. So I'm going to go up to 200 watts. Let's just make sure we make the call. Make sure and completely tune so we get every watt we have. And we will close the show with a new QSO. That'd be cool. Right to Long Island? Yep, I'll take it. That's definitely coast to coast. So the reason, if you're not a ham operator and you're hearing nothing but what you would call static right now, the reason you're just hearing static, there is a station that's responding back to this call right now. We can't hear that person, most likely because they're using a directional beam as well, and they're beaming towards this gentleman in Long Island, New York. So since we're not on that side of the beam, we're not hearing his signal. Okay? That's most likely why we're not hearing anything at this point. Here he is. Way in the distance. Way in the distance. And that's the noise reduction from the Yaesu 101 MP that helps to bring him in. Not really copyable, but close. So,
yeah, of course. But that's where all the yiddles are. Are you guys, your sister a yiddle? A real six to move down there? I can't believe it. She's going to be out number 10 to 1. Oh, yes, yes, you're right. You're right. Unbelievable. Another stupid phone call. You get these dumb phone calls. Yeah, hi, what can I do for you? Oh, okay, all right. Just take a standby. Hold on 1 second, Dr. Lee. Let me get back to you in a second. One of those phone calls.
Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one. We're literally right on the edge of the noise from the pump, as you can see. Here's the noise. This is the RFI right there. See that? And the signal is right at the edge. So you can see how the signal makes an S pattern and it goes into the band that we're trying to hear, the frequency we're trying to hear on. Let's move over here. It's clearer.
Your wife looks. The husband said, well, me neither, but she's a good cook.
Sounds like ESSB. He's running a lot of processing here.
K7GKN in the group from W7SB.
All right, that's a net. You don't want to do that.
Your mother is capped out as far as money is concerned.
So whenever they say the word in the group, okay, in the group means a net, okay? Guy's part of a net. So let's quickly call a CQ. We'll see if we can get something that's in the middle of this mess and hopefully make a quick call, okay? We'll tune, even though we just moved 3. We'll still tune. We'll call a CQ. We'll make a quick QSO, and we'll call it a day. We're going to get tons of QSO work tomorrow night, starting at 11 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 a.m. Zulu, so 0700 Zulu, as we join the Triple H Net, which is a worked all states net. If you want QSOs and lots of ham radio work, you'll see it tomorrow night, okay? Something there. Okay, we need to find a place in the middle of this mess. There we go. All right, someplace it's not going to be affected by all the RFI movement. So we still do get an impact from it, but we're not at least getting pounded by it. That's the whole point. So we can only use certain frequencies here. Let's try. Is this frequency available? This is Kilo 7 Hotel November. Checking frequency availability. This is Kilowatt 7 Hotel November. You're welcome, Larry. You are. Thanks for being here, buddy. CQ 20 meters, Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ, live on Ham Radio Live on YouTube. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ to any station, anywhere, and listening. Give it one more, two more shots. We always do a third time's the charm, right? Now, for new hams, the reason I make such a long CQ call is I'm trying to get the signal to fall on the waterfall, like this here, because other people watch their waterfalls. So I'm trying to make a long one. CQ, 20 meters. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ, any station, anywhere, live on Ham Radio Live. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ to any station, anywhere, and standing by. You know what we say, third time's a charm. CQ, 20 meters. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, Kilowatt 7 Hotel November, calling CQ. CQ, live on Ham Radio Live. This is Kilo 7 Hotel November, calling CQ to any station, anywhere, and listening. So we got nothing there, right? Let's go back to our friend in Long Island here.
1962, and it was right after the Cuban Missile Crisis.
We'll try and see if we can work this one quick call because we've not been skunked yet, doggone it. We can't be skunked. We can't be skunked. See one up higher there too. We'll try. We'll keep trying. Try not to jump in because I know the person he's speaking with is speaking with him. So I don't want to jump in here.
Right.
Hang on. Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one.
How about Duck and Cover? Do you remember Duck and Cover?
Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one.
Well, yeah, it was ridiculous. They had us come out in the hall, all underneath the desk, and the other way was to go out into the hall and getting down in a crouching position. They made you stay there for about 5 or 10 minutes. It was very, very annoying.
Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one. That RFI is killing me. You can just hear it crackling. Oh.
No kidding. No question about it. By the way, you're 5'9 plus 20 now. 5'9 plus 20. So whatever you're doing down there, you just keep it up. But, yeah, that's it. And by the way, my parents, who lived in Franklin Square at the time, back in the 1950s, were looking for homes for new houses. So we were
I'll try one last time.
We only had a 3-bedroom house on Chestnut Street in Franklin Square. I'd gone to Willow Road Elementary School, by the way. I was there from kindergarten all the way through fourth grade. And then we moved to Woodbury. But so they were looking for houses, and they loved Garden City. But there was a big sign as you got into Garden City. I don't know if you remember the sign. It said, "No dogs or Jews allowed." Over.
Kilo 7 Hotel November for a quick one. If we can't, there's a few more signals we can try real quick. I don't want to go much longer. Oh my gosh, we're over an
but I
hour.
remember going to Garden World and sitting on Santa Claus.
He may not be
flat.
hearing us.
That I remember.
All right, he's not saying much there, so he's not picking us up.
Use as the second antenna to hear.
Kilo 7 Hotel November. Boy, we're off. See, we just moved 22 kilohertz, and it's that off for tuning. So that's why it's always important to tune. I thought I'd already been in this area because the radio does remember frequencies and its internal settings. Again, right at the edge of an RFI node again. Just see on the screen how it's interacting with the signal. Yeah. You know, folks, we'll call this one because we're already into this way too long. I hate to do that. I don't want to ever make a show where we don't make a call. It bothers me because I'm not typically used to not doing that. But today the RFI is especially bad, and it's not worth running really, really long to get one call. The main thing was to make sure we shared the information on the extra exam. Also, to remind you that Mike Walker from Flex Radio Systems will be live, Larry, looking for Flex Radio information. He'll be here on Thursday. That's at noon Pacific, 20 Zulu on Thursday. Talk in. Just ask him some questions about maybe the Flex 6300 or maybe one of their other products. Larry, oh my gosh, you can get all the answers you need right there. Also, we will be having the QRP Labs whisper transmitter brought in, and we're going to put it together and we'll use it. We'll show you how it works with different kinds of antennas. We'll put it on a vertical, we'll put it on a dipole, we'll put it on a directional, and we'll show you how propagation works. It's a great example of showing that. And we also have the new MFJ Hex Beam 1848. It's brand new. And we'll be the first ones on YouTube to not only show how it's built, but also show it on the air. So please join us for that, all right? Don't forget the special event station starting on October 24th. It is Victor Kilo 65 Polio-Free Africa. Cool QSL card available for that one, all right? Thanks for joining us on Ham Radio Live Show 52. Sorry for the lack of QSOs. Sometimes that's the way ham radio works. Until next time, God bless you guys. Thank you for being wonderful friends, and goodbye, everybody.